This message is for everyone who wants to stop smoking calmly and comfortably, but is having trouble doing so. My name is Don Seibert, and before I learned the secret to quitting smoking, calm and comfortable were not words I associated with quitting. But thanks to the smoking secret, I quit, calmly and comfortably, and I'm going to share that secret with you now. As you listen to this, I suggest you sit back, relax, and light up. May seem a little strange that in offering to share the secret to quitting, I would ask you to light up. But if you're at all the kind of smoker I was, you'll understand. I want to make this as comfortable a process as possible. And as you learn about the smoking secret, you'll discover it's not scary or preachy or agonizing. Matter of fact, it might even be fun. The biggest misinformation I faced as a smoker wanting to stop, and the biggest misinformation you're probably facing right now, is you are told by Big Pharma and the medical community that smoking is only a chemical problem and that the solution is a medical one. That is simply not true, and I am about to show you why. We now know that drugs and patches really don't help. They have been proven to be even less effective than cold turkey, but it is all the medical profession has. Most medical doctors have had no training in addressing smoking issues. Of course, as a smoker, I knew the craving for nicotine was part of the reason I continued to smoke. But I also knew, in addition to my craving for nicotine, I had all sorts of things that would trigger the urge to smoke. The end of a meal, on the phone, a cup of coffee, a glass of wine or a beer. In fact, if I didn't have a cigarette in one hand, when I had a cup of coffee in the other hand, I'd tilt. Those are called physical triggers, and I'm guessing you've got a few pet physical triggers of your own. There's another category of triggers. Call them psychological triggers: stress, anxiety, anger, boredom, and loneliness, just to name a few. The big psychological trigger for me was boredom. Typically, having just stopped cold turkey a week before, I'd be sitting at home watching TV, when seemingly out of nowhere, the urge to smoke would grab me, and I'd begin that fatal internal conversation. You know the one that goes, should I or shouldn't I, which generally ends in, oh, what the heck, one puff won't hurt. Of course, you also know what happens. I had one, and by the end of the week, I was back to 3 packs a day. Generally, it's not knowing how to handle these psychological triggers that defeat us in the long run. After trying to quit many times and not succeeding, and finding each time to be painful and humiliating when I went back to smoking, I got a brilliant idea. I'll just quit trying to quit. Like many smokers who have tried and failed many times, I simply gave up. I resigned myself to smoking, and to justify my smoking, I told myself 4 things. First, I told myself I couldn't relax without a cigarette. But that's physiological nonsense. Smoking has the opposite effect. It wires you. It constricts the blood vessels, which causes the heart to beat faster and harder. Cigarettes are not tranquilizers. In fact, they put your nerves on a roller coaster. Secondly, I said, well, if I quit, I'll gain weight. I'll have to buy a whole new wardrobe. Turns out that's not true either. There is no reason to gain weight when you quit if you know how to deal with the issue. The smoking secret will show you how. Of course, I also came up with the classic. Okay, I'll die at 105 instead of 110. I'll give up 5 years at the end. But you don't pay the price at the end. You pay the price every time you have difficulty looking a child in the eye because you smoke. You pay the price every time you burn holes in clothing or furniture or carpets. You pay the price every time you cover up your butts in the garbage so your family won't know how much you smoke. You've been paying ever since you smoked your first cigarette, and you'll continue to pay until you quit. Finally, I fell back on the big one. Why go through all the pain of quitting when I really enjoy smoking? One of the big things I learned from the smoking secret was you don't enjoy smoking. Now, hear me out before you ask, how can I possibly know what you enjoy? As you know, nicotine is an addictive drug. And like any addictive drug, once you have established tolerance, you must maintain that level of the drug in your system or you feel uncomfortable. For me, that took 3 packs a day. For others, it may be as little as half a pack. The point is, notice you smoke about the same amount each day. That's the amount of nicotine your body needs to remain comfortable. When you smoke a cigarette, you bring the nicotine level in your body up to your comfort zone. However, your body is going through the normal process of cleansing the blood, and one of the impurities it is removing is nicotine. And when the level of nicotine in your system drops low enough, you begin to feel a bit of discomfort. You know the feeling you have when you get out of a place where you haven't been able to smoke for several hours, a movie, or a meeting, for example? You immediately light up and inhale deeply, raising your nicotine level, which relieves the discomfort caused by your low level of nicotine, and you tell yourself, that felt good. I enjoyed that. Well, yeah, it felt good because you relieved the discomfort. But relieving discomfort is not the same as enjoyment. That's like banging your head against a wall and noticing when you stop, it feels good. Sure, that would feel good, but that's not enjoyment. That's the relief of discomfort. The only thing a cigarette does is relieve the discomfort caused by a low level of nicotine. It's a vicious cycle. Each cigarette creating the need for the next one. We don't smoke for enjoyment. We smoke to relieve the discomfort caused by a low level of nicotine. But I told myself all those things until I discovered the smoking secret, where I finally understood that my rationalizations for smoking were just me defending my smoking habit. I had really given up trying to quit because I had 3 fears about quitting. My first fear was the fear of failure. I had failed many times, and I didn't want to fail again. I'm here to tell you the reason I failed before I learned the secret was I simply didn't know how to quit. I went into quitting without the right tools and techniques. The smoking secret will show you how to quit. I had a second fear. I was afraid of pain. And quite frankly, were there any pain involved in the smoking secret, I would not be here to tell you about it. The smoking secret is painless, and it will show you how to stop smoking calmly and comfortably. I like to think of it as quitting warm chicken instead of cold turkey. But let me tell you my biggest fear. I was afraid if I quit smoking, I would have to spend the rest of my life wanting a cigarette. I couldn't imagine one day not wanting to smoke, never mind the rest of my life. But I learned one simple thing. I wasn't born a smoker. Smoking is a very unnatural behavior you must learn. Remember your first cigarette? If you were like me, you probably coughed and gagged, got a bit lightheaded and dizzy, maybe felt a bit nauseous. Did we say this is crazy and throw the cigarettes away? No. We hung in. We persevered. We learned how to smoke. If you don't think you had to learn, ask any non-smoker to open a pack of cigarettes. They're not stupid. They will figure it out. But watch a smoker open a pack. It's like magic. Whoosh! And a cigarette appears between their fingers. You had to learn that. You had to learn how to hold a cigarette, how to inhale and exhale, how to butt out without scorching your fingers, and many more behaviors. The smoking secret identifies more than 100 things you learned and that tie you to smoking. And now, just as you learned how to smoke, with the smoking secret, you can learn how to quit. So what is the smoking secret? Well, as a 3-pack-a-day smoker in 1981, I was fortunate to have learned about it then, and I'm here to tell you about it today. It's called Smoke Enders. And since 1969, Smoke Enders has been successfully teaching smokers how to quit calmly, comfortably, and painlessly. More than 1 million smokers have stopped using this approach. Before I tell you about Smoke Enders, let me tell you what it is not. It is not a medical program. There are no pills, patches, or potions. We are also not experimenting with you. The course is taught the same way worldwide. It is not a willpower program. It's a learning experience. And learning does not require willpower. When you learn to drive, did they sit you behind the wheel and say, now exert some willpower? Of course not. They taught you how to drive. Smoke Enders will teach you how to quit. Finally, it is not a scare program. We don't talk about some dread disease or show pictures of diseased body parts. Fear of disease may be what motivated you to want to quit, but fear is not going to teach you how to quit. Teaching you how is what Smoke Enders does. So what is Smoke Enders? Smoke Enders is a 7-week online course you take in the privacy of your own home. Smoke Enders does not see smoking as a nasty little habit. We see it as a complex problem which involves you physically, psychologically, socially, and economically. And Smoke Enders addresses each of these issues. For the first 4 weeks of the program, you'll continue to smoke as much as you like while we teach you how to quit. After all, if you already knew how to quit, you would have stopped long ago. The reason you continue to smoke is you just don't know how to quit. Smoke Enders will show you how. In those 4 weeks, you'll learn how to disconnect from all those habits, cravings, linkages, and triggers that tie you to cigarettes. You will stop smoking the day after the 5th session, not because we say you will, but because you will be ready. You won't climb the walls. There will be no cold turkey withdrawal. You'll be calm, you'll be comfortable, and you will be free. That may not seem possible. At least that is what I thought when I began Smoke Enders, but I did it, and you can do it also. Once you stop, there are 2 additional sessions to assist you in learning a new habit called not smoking. You'll learn techniques like how to cope with stress without smoking, how to avoid the pitfalls that sabotaged your efforts in the past, and you'll learn, best of all, it's guaranteed. I did Smoke Enders back in March of 1981, and it was a life-changing event for me. I know that quitting affected all areas of my life: my spouse, my kids, my job, my finances, feeling socially accepted. Every part of my life improved from that day forward, and I am not alone. More than 1 million smokers have had the same experience with Smoke Enders. It worked for me, it worked for them, and it will work for you. By now you are probably wondering, what does this thing cost? Your investment in your future is just $147. Compare that to the cost of smoking. The average cost for a pack-a-day smoker is $5.50. Multiply that by 365 days, and you get over $2,000 annually. That's a lot of money to be saving. What a tremendous return on your investment. Where else can you get your life extended by up to 10 years, lots of money, and increased self-esteem for such a minimal investment? You know, it will never cost you less to quit permanently than it will today. You owe it to yourself and to your family. Remember, it doesn't matter how much you smoke, how long you have smoked, or how many times you have tried to quit. This time, with Smoke Enders' help, you can stop. Calmly, comfortably, and permanently. This is your time. Act now. Just click below and get started. I'll see you on the other side.